The whole thing has been a hell of a ride, but the handbrake's apparently gone on for the recently rolled Deputy Leader of the National Party, Paula Bennett. After about 15 years in Parliament, 14 different portfolios and a stint as Deputy Prime Minister, the MP for Upper Harbour is exiting stage right at this year's election. She told the party's new leader, Todd Muller, of her resignation this morning and says she's looking for work in the business world. Following the leadership coup, Bennett declared herself all in with the party and keen to carry on. So when I spoke to her earlier, I asked what had changed.
Well, I'm 100% in until I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, you don't do something half-heartedly. So obviously what changed is I'm no longer the Deputy Leader, and so I don't really have a shot at being the Deputy Prime Minister. And I've done that job and it was so amazing. And I've done 15 years and had the best of it. So now I reckon it's time for me to think about me and my next move.
So if National were to get into government at the next election, it wouldn't have just been enough for you to be a backbencher or at best a minister?
Well, not when you've had the big role I have, and I just got a chance to sit there and go, I've had 15 years in politics. I have 9 years as a minister. I've been 3 years nearly as a deputy leader of this party. I've had a pretty remarkable time. Maybe it is other people's turn and that they've got something to contribute and I can go on and do something else, which I'm pretty excited about.
You know, politics can be pretty rough and tumble, and I know that you're pretty robust, but was it quite wounding, that coup?
No. Not at all. You know, they wanted change, and I actually understand that completely, and I respect it. So it is what it is, and we sign up to this job knowing what we're getting into. So not wounding at all. I just think for the first time in a long time, I got to sit there and go, well, what do I want most right now? And I went, wow, I want another career, and I want it to be out of politics.
You told Todd Muller this morning, is that right?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Did he try and talk you out of it at all?
Look, he just, him and I have been talking for a little while, and so it wasn't a surprise to him. And he just certainly wished me well and thanked me for everything that I've done for the National Party, and I think he did it genuinely. I think it was really genuine.
But he didn't try and change your mind?
No one's going to change my mind, Lisa.
But he didn't have a crack at it? He didn't have a crack at it?
I didn't ring him for permission or to change my mind. I rang him and told him exactly what I was doing and when I was doing it. So it's as simple as that.
Did you give Simon Bridges a heads up that you were bailing out?
Oh, me and Simon talk most days. We're friends. So, yeah, of course he knew.
Do you reckon he's going to stay there?
Oh, that's Simon's call, not mine. As I say, for the first time, Lisa, I don't get to think about a leader. I don't get to think about a party. I get to think about me first, and that feels really good.
In your your retirement speech, can we call it that? You said you were particularly proud of your work as the Minister for Social Development. What about that made you proud?
Oh, just that it changed people's lives, that we saw fewer people reliant on welfare, but instead being independent, that I, for the first time took on a new role within government, which was around sexual abuse and trauma, and actually seeing that in its own right. That, just so many things, and it was such a big portfolio, and people were really struggling at the beginning of it, and I not only managed to help them, but then actually turn it around and send fewer people on welfare, which I think is something to be proud of.
You know that a lot of people will not look back at that time with you as Minister of that portfolio fondly, and in fact they would argue that people are worse off, that coming off a benefit doesn't necessarily mean your life is better. What do you say to the critics?
Well, being on it for a long time, there's absolute evidence that is worse. So, and there's a whole many studies that show that, long-term welfare dependence can lead to not just kind of financial difficulty, which is pretty obvious, but equally it can be detrimental on mental health and all sorts of other things. So, I just think that helping and putting the right systems in place that assist people to get off and get into paid work is the strength of this country. That I stand by the welfare system. We need it. It should be there. But wherever possible, people should be able to be independent.
I looked back at your maiden speech and you said, I advocate for choice for women to work part-time or full-time in paid work or not at all, or to stay home and raise their children. Arguably, you took that choice away from some women, solo parents, when you were the minister. Did you betray them?
No, I didn't take it away from them at all. I introduced part-time work testing when the youngest were able to go to early childhood education. So there was definitely, it wasn't about that. And all people had to do was be looking for a job, and it could be a job that suited them and their childcare arrangements, or that their children were in kindy, or that by the time they were 5 at school. So, there's no way that is it's the way you portrayed it.
No regrets then?
Oh, not at all. Life's too short for that anyway. I always think I got in there, I got given opportunities, I grabbed them with both hands. I've loved the ride and I'm ready to move on.
So no regrets about breaching the privacy of two beneficiaries when you were in a position of power?
There's no point in having any regrets, Lisa. Looking backwards, just the kind of, there's things you can't change.
No regrets about throwing shade on Jamie Lee Ross?
Oh, absolutely not.
What job do you want?
Yeah, I'm just keen to get into business, but I don't know, and I think that's what's kind of exciting. I know I want to stay in New Zealand. I know I don't want to be in politics.
So not a public servant, you want to work for the private sector?
Yeah, I'm definitely keen to get into the private sector.
Have you had a chat to John Key and Bill English about possible job prospects?
They're people I speak to quite often, so...
perhaps yes?
See what's happening. Oh, no, not about going into business with them or anything like that, but just they're people I talk to,
Hey, well, we've got a few seconds now. We'll give you the opportunity to do your pitch based on your political career and the skills that you've acquired. What's your pitch to a potential employer?
Oh, well, I am someone that can not only think strategically, that can actually formulate a plan, know what success looks like, but I actually get it done. And I think it's the ability to execute what needs to be achieved that is a strength in politics and equally in the business world.
When can we expect the book?
No, it's certainly not on my agenda.
Really?
I've got a lot more chapters I've got to keep living.
And hey, one thing before you go, do you actually like paninis?
No, I'm not a panini. I'd much rather have a bagel.
Bowl latte?
No. No, I don't even think they sell them, do they?
What's Tom Sainsbury going to do now, Paula?
Yeah, I don't know. What is he going to do? Because, look, maybe he needs to start up a Lisa Owen.
Or he could be your EA when you move into a new job.
Maybe. Or I could be his. Hey,
exactly.
I'm the one that's job hunting. Yeah, I'm the one that's job hunting.